Hello there. It is said by many people, confession is good for the soul. What does that mean? And here there is an oak tree, and the Celtic tree oracle, the oak tree, is known for its qualities of endurance. And indeed, scientists who bother to study these things have discovered that an average oak tree can contain up to 300 different pests and diseases, creatures living on it, feeding off it, and it just keeps on going. So the oak tree represents endurance. And the thing is, particularly amongst the polite peoples of the world, one of the things that tends to happen to them, and I include myself in this, is we tend to put up with situations, we tend to not say how we feel some of the time, maybe even a lot of the time. And what that does is that ends up as being a stored resentment, a stored having been blocked or shut down, a stored experience, something that was not released at the time. So if you happen to be from one of those societies, then this is really important. If you're from one of those societies where people say what they feel and they don't give a monkey's about anyone's opinion, they just blurt it all out, this might not be so important for you. I don't know. You tell me. And what I've discovered, particularly because I've been going through some extended periods of isolation, and due to the wonderful confluence of the stars and the planets quite recently, I was experiencing lost and alone and loneliness and all that. When I made a film about how I was feeling, when I confessed how I was feeling, I discovered very rapidly that within a very short time I felt so much better, and I had more energy and I felt more alive, which means that all the cells, the cell membranes and the DNA was becoming even more bright and vibrant and full of light than it normally is. Because let's face it, when people are in a repressed state, we recognise this because their light dims. And when a person is bursting with vitality, and especially we think about a very young child which has not been shut down yet, so much life, so much vitality, it's so beautiful. So I reckon this maxim, confession is good for the soul, in my own personal experience, I've explored it and I found it to be a truth. So I commend it to you, and maybe you have someone or some people that you can just share things with on a regular daily basis. And that's really lovely if you have that, especially if you make sure that they're up for it, so you're not just violating their free will on this subject, because some people do this, don't they? Some people, they find someone who's willing to listen to the tiniest amount and they suddenly realise, oh, I can let all my stuff out on that person. They don't even bother to ask them how they feel about it. Well, I wouldn't recommend that personally. I reckon it's a really good idea, if you're going to do this, to check out, make sure it's okay, make sure the person is up for it in the right space to receive your confession. And then that's something else, because some of us are much more the kind of people that absorb information than others. Some people, it just washes over them, it doesn't really make much of an impact. But if you're a person that absorbs a lot of information, then this becomes even more important. So it might not be a matter of holding in feelings you weren't able to express. It could just be awash with so much information. And anyone who lives in a city where there's so much human presence and so much interaction and so much sound and so much movement, well, it might be even more important for you. So I'm heading very steadily towards this tree, and no, this one is absolutely not an oak, this is an ash. So just as much as oak is for endurance, ash is for rebirth and peace. So whenever you get the opportunity to be near to or close to an ash tree, the ash trees, well, all the trees are incredibly receptive and forgiving of our human natures. They're really up for us sharing with them, and just putting your hands on a tree can make a huge difference to how you feel. And this is Ivythorn Woods again. Ivythorn Woods is in the zodiac sign Aries, in the Glastonbury zodiac. So anyone who lives or experiences being within 8.5 kilometres of the tour of Glastonbury, they are in this energy, and it's a very powerful energy indeed. And indeed, I'm going to make a film about that at some other point. But I just want to finish by saying, confession. It's a great gift. And if you are a person that can actually hear other people and listen to what they want to show, that's a great gift in its own right. So if you're watching this, I want to thank you very much for your time and your attention. Really appreciate it. All the love to you.